What's the best part about covering a case file entry for a video? Knowing there actually can be updates at some point, no matter how low the possibility. Out of nowhere, a dead project can rise from its grave, and the fun can start again. I'm happy to announce that for 3 topics I've already covered, that's precisely what's happened. It's time to catch up on the news and continue our investigations. These are the latest breaks in the Nightmind case files. The 15Experience was a very cool project from over 2 years ago that brought a lot of innovation to the web series field. It showed us just how much potential for invention is still out there when it comes to online storytelling, but left us hanging with a major amount of mystery. 4 people in a house hooked up to 15 surveillance cameras went missing while under the influence of paranormal forces. No reports were filed about their disappearance, and the only man following the case, our hacker in the white hockey mask, was taken away by unknown attackers, bringing the investigation to an immediate halt. Last week, on March 1st, subscribers to the 15Experience got a major surprise when the hacker uploaded, announcing that he is back and ready to continue his work. I'll let him tell you what happened after the last video.
2 years, it was a time justice needed to investigate, and they finally set me free. They confiscated everything, searched my computer, my hard drives, my videos, my apartment. I could not communicate with you as I was the only suspect in the disappearance of 4 people. But now, my case has been filed, and I can eventually continue my investigation.
For those who don't remember, the hacker reviews the events of May 15, 2014, when the 4 intruders in the haunted house disappeared after going through a bit of paranormal hell. No one reported them as missing, not during the week of their disappearance, not during that month or that year, not at all. It's been well over 2.5 years now since May of 2014, and still, nothing has come up. The hacker explains just how bad the situation is.
4 people are still missing. No new suspects have come up. We have no pieces of evidence, not even a clue where this house could be. All that remains are the surveillance cameras I recorded 2 years ago. Starting there, I will do my best to find this house and understand what has happened to these people. See you very soon. Bye.
The hacker ends his video by showing us the site is still active. Anyone who hasn't gone through the footage yet can do so, and for those who want to follow along, the social media accounts are active again. This is extremely exciting. Not only did we get a pulse of life, we got a character saying that he's back on the trail and is going to try finding the house. But it gets even better than the promise of a sequel to the first 15Experience. On March 4th, the hacker uploaded a clip that was sent to him by a woman having a Skype call with her boyfriend. She knew about the 15Experience and sent evidence of what she recorded to see what the hacker thinks. The video starts out normally enough. Just the man, Bart, and the woman, Rachel, talking about how they miss each other. Bart hears his parents calling and his father heads upstairs to bother him about something. Immediately after the father leaves, Bart mentions seeing a window appear on his screen.
What? Oh no, it's like a security camera or something like that. But in a cellar. And I think I see something.
What are you talking? Are you okay? Bart, what's going on? Bart, what's going on? Bart!
Rachel waits, confused. She didn't seem to catch that Bart was holding a gun when he passed by, but she finds out when gunshots ring out downstairs. You hear 1 shot, followed by the screaming of a woman. 2 more shots follow. Bart heads back to the computer and sits down, prompting Rachel to ask what's going on, but she doesn't even get to finish her sentence. The moment he takes a seat, he shoots himself in the head, painting the wall in back of him with blood. The video description makes what Bart said about the image he saw clearer, as the hacker writes. About a minute in, he begins to act strangely and says he sees something on a security camera that popped up on his screen. Remember the first video that was sent to the hacker by an outsider in 2014? Girl Goes Psycho during makeup tutorial, featuring a beauty vlogger whose recording was interrupted by a pop-up window of a security camera feed. We find out it's coming from camera number 15 in the haunted house the hacker found, and this room is where most of the activity takes place. Man Gets Possessed During Skype Session is actually a sequel to Girl Goes Psycho during makeup tutorial. Same video suddenly appearing on the screen, same outcome. Nikki, the beauty vlogger, didn't have anyone around to kill, so we just watched the woman crack her skull open on the table until she dies from the trauma. Bart, however, had parents downstairs he had just been reminded of before the video appeared. Whatever violence took hold of him had extra targets to attack before killing off Bart. In a video analysis uploaded on March 8th, the hacker puts these pieces together for the audience, even bringing in the makeup tutorial to compare to the new events. But it seems there's something the hacker might have missed. There is an odd visual element to the video, made noticeable mainly by the shifting of an object in the upper right corner. During the beginning of the video and Bart's violent outburst, it stays in one place. While Bart is looking at the security camera feed that appears on screen, it changes, moving slightly upward and becoming flat. It turns out nothing in the background is actually moving. There's a distortion wave messing with the image at the top of the screen. Watch closely and you'll see it. The distortion wave appears about 1 second before Bart sees the video on the screen, and it disappears when he leans back, showing that he's been possessed. Whatever he was seeing showed up on our side of the screen in some form. It made an effect in Rachel's recording. Whatever the hacker does to find out where the haunted house is, he had better move fast. The events from 2014 are happening again, and whoever or whatever is sharing the feed from camera 15 is responsible for at least 4 deaths we know about now. That's all for the moment and updates on the 15 experience. If you haven't subscribed to them yet, definitely do so, and if you're on Twitter or Facebook, it looks like the hacker is pretty active there, posting updates in between videos. Follow his progress and stay in the loop as this case continues to unfold. If you haven't seen the 15 experience yet, I made a video all about it here that encompasses everything you need to know. Catch up on it before the ride really starts to take off again. Next, we have some catching up to do on the Wyoming incident. Jack Pembry, or whoever has been using his account, has been very talkative since they came back. We're learning a good bit more than we ever expected. From the first update, we discovered that Senor Bambos really was being tormented by a man running the Wyoming incident, and we also found out that this man, who we'll be calling Jim, probably isn't even the head of the project. Communication between others gave away that there's a group in charge voting on major movements for the game. This group doesn't have any faith in Jim. They think he's pretty naive and a bit of a loose cannon. He must be too, or else there wouldn't be a detective or reporter feeding a timeline of Jim's life to somebody who's investigating. Since this information came to light, we've had a few more posts by Jack Pembry. The first new update was a set of images that captured notes by a secret informant. It happened in July of 2016, but the exact day has been scratched out. The notes talk about somebody who hasn't spoken to Senor Bambos in about 6 months, claimed to have little to no contact with the Puppet Master but actually did, and believed the Puppet Master to be an older person, a hobbyist with character traits you could say a lot of unkind things about. The informer was told the story of the Highwayman, the Wyoming brokerage firm, and Martin's nasty habits. Either the informant or Puppet Master doesn't know about the Lusk reenactment videos made by the writer. Quincy is dead, and the informant or Puppet Master knows, but it may have been revealed in supplemental material, which could be checked on through the Bible. This is some alternate reality game and writing terminology. A Bible is where you write down all the information pertaining to the story, characters, and events. The book that answers every single question a player would or could ask during the story. The informant or Puppet Master is boasting about adopting Greek mythology for the game while downplaying input from Bambos on the story. They regret not monetizing, which must mean they had options to earn ad revenue somehow from the game but didn't do it. The informant seems to be asking about how old the writer is, checking their phone, and looking for their articles on a website. They want to see the writer's notes, and there's something about the writer's face. You can't make out the first 3 words, but the last 2, my face, can be clearly seen. Whoever's writing these notes might be the same person investigating Jim, the apparent Puppet Master, who got a former investigator to email them a timeline of Jim's life and movements. They might also be someone who had something to do with the game. The information about Lusk reenactment videos and revealing material through the Bible says a lot. It's also not clear who they were talking to exactly, but it definitely seems like the informer was part of the game. They regret not monetizing, they used to speak to Bambos, and lied about not talking to the Puppet Master. We're also seeing some things here that we can learn more about later, hopefully. The story of the Highwayman, the Wyoming brokerage firm, Martin's nasty habits, and again, the Lusk reenactment videos. There's a lot to dissect over the next few pieces, so I'll go ahead and deliver what I put together from the information. If any of you want to check it out, I'll provide a link to all of Jack Pembry's updates in the video description. Apparently, Joseph Bright, the character at the center of the late phase of the game, was somebody who entered the project after Senor Bambos lied about it all being a prank by the Something Awful forums. Joseph reached out to either the Puppet Master or one of his partners, and they let him into the fold. In a private chat room for those who run the game, Joseph Bright went by the name Copperfist, and he spoke to someone going by the name Rated Y. Rated Y turns out to be named Martin. You might remember Martin as one of the old housemates of Jim, the apparent puppet master, back before the Wyoming Incident began. The username Rated Y was also from the very first group of users on the Happy Cube, back when it was a forum for serial killers. You can see a thread from August of 2004 asking where Rated Y is hiding out. Rated Y replies 2 hours later. Because the Happy Cube is a place where usernames are used like costumes and anybody can slip inside, we don't know if Martin was Rated Y from the very start, but we at least know that he was here during the Joseph Bright phase. The video called Backstory during that same phase of the game featuring a school bus had a purpose, by the way. Joseph Bright made it to mess with the person they first spoke to after they shared a story with him from childhood. The person talking to Joseph had apparently fallen asleep on the bus when they were 12 and woke up to find themselves in the middle of a road near a field. They walked up to a tree in that field, not realizing it was at the edge of a cliff, and fell over. When they landed, they saw their brother standing over them with nothing in his eyes. The very next moment, they woke up for school on the following morning, with no memory of getting home. The writer tells Joseph Bright the story in order to explain that there are magical, mystical, and weird things in this world, and even if religious and mythological elements are part of the story for their game, it's a necessary supernatural backdrop that has a bit of merit because they've been through something that felt like a myth. Going back to the chat logs, Joseph Bright mentions a person named Quinn who's part of Martin's group overseeing the game. You might remember there was a man traveling with Jim, the apparent puppet master, named Quentin Rigby in his early years. This might be the Quinn that Joseph brings up. There also really was a hack job Johnny at some point, and Johnny is dead. And both Johnny and Quinn, Joseph writes, were part of a cycle. We all get used up to continue the cycle. Bambos will be used up too when this is over with. In the end, Joseph gets kicked out of the game. Not for using the backstory video to get a reaction out of the first contact he spoke to for making fun of their childhood story, but because he made an entire phase of the game about him and then ran it into the ground. The whole cash for gold prank must have been the absolute last straw. A private email from Joseph to his sibling reveals a bit more to us. He's a struggling actor failing to make his auditions and lives down the coast a bit from a man named Martin, who is about the only person from his last project that he's still in contact with. The next piece is another chat log that shows Joseph Bright tried apologizing to the group. We see a few new names, and none of them are friendly to Joseph. He ends up burning the bridge instead of mending fences, saying the group is just a bunch of geriatrics who will never get their message out because they don't understand how to work with a new generation. Martin, aka Rated Y, also gives away that they might all really have been part of the original Happy Cube group too, meaning these truly are some old guys running the game. There is a final conversation between Martin and Joseph that adds a bit more knowledge for us. Joseph knew about a character called the Highwayman and was afraid of him because the Highwayman destroyed the closest thing to a real brother that he ever had. We also can attribute a quote from one of the prior updates to somebody now and have some context. This has been engineered well enough to function in the right hands. The operators are flawed. My requests have been ignored. This was mine. Do you know how close I am to you right now? Do you know I can see you through the dark? Can you make it to the light switch before I have your neck in my hands? You won't see my face. All of that was said by Martin to Joseph, and he asked him about the light switch because he reveals he was hiding in his closet as they were messaging each other. The Joseph Bright saga ends with a final nail in the coffin on the subject of Martin being the user Rated Y. Joseph, I know it scares you now. Keep in mind that there is a cycle here, and every piece that makes up each phase matters. You matter. Did not intend to disturb or upset you. When you think of your predecessor and his collaboration with our benefactor, remember that he was less privy to certain things than you are. Take that as a sign of respect and trust, and honor. Bambos's vetting process was a slow and meticulous one, an investment to be sure. It didn't pay off, but who's to say when any of our work will be done? Here when you need an ear, Martin. 2 more updates from Jack Pembry remain. In the first, Help Wanted, we have a message in the present directed at somebody reading the forum. They mention the detector, also known as Viral Detector, a former friend of Senor Bambos, and give away the first 2 letters of his name, probably Michael. Whoever is being addressed hasn't heard from the detector in a while, and he might have had an interview about a shared project some time ago. Remember the notepad from earlier? Anonymous source. Has not talked to Bambos in almost 6 months. Had little to no contact with Puppet Master but lied about it, which means the anonymous source was another person in the game. Kind of like Viral Detector, the only friend of Bambos we know about. The clue from the notepad and information from Help Wanted line up. The anonymous informant is most likely the detector. That makes Senor Bambos, the man on the run, the person that Jack Pembry is talking to here. They tell Bambos, you can change your phone number, pick up and move, dump your old laptop, stop using your old email accounts, drive me to wasting what you probably think are exceptional amounts of money, and remove every trace of yourself from the internet you can. You will find your way home in the end. This has all been an intermission, or, more aptly, a vacation. Don't make me come and find you. I'm being charitable here. I am closer than you know. Do this voluntarily. We have work to do, debts to repay, new works of art to put on display. This is just the beginning. Stalling if I'm being honest. You have 1 week. The People You Love is the last update. We have what seems to be whoever spoke to Joseph writing about their experience on the hill, with their brother standing over them and then waking up. We end with an odd statement. Hello. Hello. The rest of the post appears to be from the perspective of the puppet master, writing about Quentin, the old ally of Jim, who, again, seems to be the puppet master. Quentin was a decent partner, but had his flaws and then met his end by taking tolls away from the highwayman. The puppet master writes about Martin, calling him a pervert, a creep, and a hypocrite who likes to play the role of lapdog. He mentors the weak and unworthy, but has some value for keeping an eye on things. Joseph Bright is said to be a disappointment and is now gone. And Senor Bambos? He's home again, and for this small place and time, all is right. That post was made 8 days after the help wanted message telling Bambos that he had 1 week to get back into the fold. Looks like the puppet master wasn't lying. He gave 7 days and then took his old partner back by force on the 8th day. So it appears we won't be getting any help out of Bambos. I don't know if he's capable of breaking away from Jim or the puppet master or whoever this is, but these men, they are not messing around, and they're planning something. Keep an eye out, everybody. When it rains, it pours, and it's definitely raining now. Finally, we have something I should have gotten around to when it happened if it wasn't for all the activity of September and October. Our old research station with a brain, NOC+10, appears to still be broadcasting, or may have sent us a death certificate. On September 26, 2016, a new video was uploaded, another double 0101 title, but without much code breaking inside. The message was a lot more straightforward, playing over an audio track.
Dear friend, you have given your best to preserve the integrity of this structure, and now the nation is asking you to donate something even more valuable. With a huge gesture, giving your life to the cause have made your country proud of you. Nationwide, thank you and assure you that your ultimate sacrifice will be certain to defeat the enemy. God bless you and assure you serenity and the right to stay calm and take a position composed. Soon it will be over. Remember, never forget to cry. Listen to my voice. Relax and try to think of all the good you have done for this nation. Sacrificing your life, you have made the world a better place.
A loud screeching noise from a machine comes next, followed by the chorus to What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. We get a message in text, all that memories, and then the video ends. During the upload, you could hear machine beep sounds in the background, suggesting a type of code being spelled out. Hannah Miyakoshi in the comments took on the challenge of breaking it down. The Morse code translation had to be treated to a Caesar cipher, which gave the result RMD tested, followed by some letters that can't be made sense of. RMD in naval code stands for died on active duty. If this really is the solution to the code, it makes a lot of sense considering what we were told in the audio track. Somebody involved in the NOC+10 station has died, the station itself is dying, or the project might just be saying goodbye. It's not very clear what the case is. If there aren't any more updates, we might be able to count it as closure. Maybe it's a continuation, maybe an ending. We'll keep an eye on this one for any more signs of life, but either way, it's a chilling update. I can't imagine hearing that play over the speakers while trapped in a place nobody could possibly send a rescue team. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, check out my video on NOC+10 and get ready to feel some well-earned goosebumps. It's still pretty morbid to think about the story behind this one. That's it for now, everyone. Remember to subscribe to the 15Experience and NOC+10, keep checking out the Happy Cube, and subscribe here to Nightmind so you'll always catch new updates. And hit that bell icon next to the subscriber box as well, because YouTube apparently thinks you don't deserve notifications just by hitting subscribe, so you have to go through 2 steps. Yeah, very intuitive user design. Major thanks to all of you for watching and to all of my supporters on Patreon who make it possible for me to keep up with all the series I cover as major updates happen. Stick around to the end of the video to see all of their names. Thanks for joining me in the dark again this evening. Once more, I'm Nick Nocturne, and just like the coolest cases in my files, I'll be back again real soon. Sleep tight.